Hello everyone, and welcome to one of the SCL matches between Tactical Gaming and Impulse Gaming, spawning in the top right position of Antigua. My gosh, Boisterous, could you cough anymore while I'm introing our players?
I apologize.
Welcome back, Boisterous. He went to get some water. So we do have Maldzar for Team Tactical Gaming, and his opponent is the Blue Zerg Sakura. For Impulse Gaming, Sakura took game number 1, so this is game number 2 between Impulse Gaming and Tactical Gaming.
And of course, this entire series will follow an all-kill format. So whoever wins this game will go on to play their opponents in the next game, and so on and so forth until the best of 7 is completed. And I have to say, that loading screen was way faster than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was super fast. I didn't expect you to come back all coughing, so I just introed the players as needed. It looks like Sakura went for the extractor trick, and now his Overlord is popping, so he will be able to continue on. It looks like Maldzar might be going for some sort of fast expand sort of play. However, his pylon is in a really kind of odd position.
He's going to make a wall complete and then complete with a Nexus. That's basically the reason why you do it.
Okay. Yeah, I was watching the Red Bull Battlegrounds, and a lot of I think it was MC. MC was walling all the way at the ramp when he forged fast expanded on this map, and it was very, very cool.
Yeah, it's growing in popularity, I would say.
Yeah. Well, MC is a very excellent player, so not bad to take advice from him. And yeah, it is indeed a forge fast expand, as the forge did go down. It will be finished here pretty soon.
And there is going to be no fast expand from our Zerg player. He might get it, faster than average, but that would be as soon as he sees the forge. However, he's not going to get it as fast as he really should in this situation.
Ooh, and Maldzar could have denied it, but the probe, or the drone, will get down in time and put down the hatchery. That can be so annoying. Ooh, just getting a little bit off, and so he will have to cancel and replace it.
Yeah, that's really annoying at the start of the match, because that's 75 minerals just thrown down the drain, and now he's larva camped at his main base, and that larva pile is just growing right now. I wonder, what is he... Alright, well, he stopped perfectly at 100 gas. I'm still surprised he's not making any units with this larva, because that's kind of just wasted time.
Yeah, he's just getting his first Overlord, or another Overlord, I should say, also getting a Zergling. In the meantime, Maldzar has finished his wall with his gateway, has a pylon, and then, of course, a Nexus. I like that he built a second pylon, which can allow for a lot of very, very cool things, especially the fact that it's not an Artosis pylon, and so the Zerg player cannot snipe that.
That's a photon cannon.
Oh, that's a cannon? Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I was really confused as to what you were talking about.
For some reason, I thought it was a pylon. I guess I just saw the letter P and assumed, and you know what they say about people who assume, so I am very sorry, guys.
Wait, so you actually clicked on the photon cannon and you still thought it was a pylon?
Yep. I was so convinced. I was like, man, this guy's building a pylon. What a baller. He doesn't need a cannon.
Okay, well, Kadank, it would appear that we have quite a large Maynard down to the natural for our Zerg player. It's actually 7 drones. That's a lot bigger than you see most players go for.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Protoss player finishes his Nexus just about at the same time the Zerg player does. So neither player really having an economic advantage at this point in the game. If we look at the income, the Zerg is or the Protoss is actually ahead in... Alright, the Protoss is ahead in Harvesters. I think that's mainly because Sakura's build got completely thrown off when he had to cancel that hatchery, because that really will screw you over in the long run. Astoundingly so.
That, and another thing I want to say is when a Protoss player gets his Cybernetics core a lot later, his Chrono Boosts are spent on probes rather than on Warp Gates, because his Warp Gate isn't out as early as it could be, and so therefore the Protoss player can get a lot more probes a lot earlier, so that's another reason why he's ahead. Another thing is we have Sakura going for the fast third, so it looks like his economy won't be that far behind, as this third will allow him to kind of catch up. And I suppose he's going to be doing the DRG thing, which is just maxing up drones and then getting a 200 Roach army.
That is a very popular strategy versus Protoss at this point in time, on the ladder at least.
Yeah.
You have the Overlord popping out for Sakura, and there's a lot of larva on the map. He's doing beautiful larva injects at this point. I haven't really seen him miss one yet. We can even see his Queen in the main is like perfectly, is basically a perfect energy. It's almost ridiculous, and yeah, he has so much larva.
Yeah.
It's insane. I wish I could play like that.
He is on top of it, man. But remember, these are Platinum Diamond players. Sakura probably a Diamond player as he is landing those perfectly. And that's one of the hardest things to do as a Zerg player. That can be the difference between, you know, Silver League and Platinum League sometimes. I tell a lot of players, if you just don't get supply blocked, you keep building units, you know, don't miss your injects, you'll be fine.
I think it's more of the difference between like Silver and Diamond, or even Master, really.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of the Zerg play, is getting those injects on time and every time. Because it means that you need less macro hatcheries, because usually I drop like 4 macro hatcheries in a game just for fun.
Yeah.
And because I'm bad. However, we have the Roachborn coming out, so it's almost certainly going to be that sort of DRG play that you hinted at earlier. He has 9 more drones on the way, so that brings him to 50 drones. So really, to be more DRG, he only needs 25 more.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Malzar is doing the proper thing. He's getting his Twilight Council, so he will be going for mass Blink Stalker. Also getting his Robo facility up so he can produce Immortals. And Blink Stalker is very, very good against Roach if you have good Blink Micro. So we'll have to see how Malzar's Blink Micro is.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be telling of this game. The Observer was also a big part of getting that robotics facility out, because since Observer build time was decreased, you can get so much information so much faster, basically all game long. So I would be surprised to see any Protoss still go for that sort of Twilight Council first, just because the Observers are just so awesome for seeing what your opponent is going for, and being able to counter it a lot more efficiently.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. That is a little bit of a late robotics facility, to be honest. Looks like a pylon over on the left side, but Sakura did see it with some roaches. However, Malzar has the answer, spawning in some, some stalkers. So Sakura will have to run back, and he will have to go into roach production.
We have the blink that is going to probably be happening, and there's the blink up into the main. He's going to be sniping right at the Roachborn, and if this Roachborn goes down, that's actually going to be awful for our Zerg player, because he doesn't have any units currently. Actually, I guess he has some roaches.
Ooh, great job.
However, yeah, this is... it was kind of hard to see who was winning there because of the giant cliff in the way.
Yeah.
Damn you, map design. And it looks like Sakura is going to be running right on over back to this edge. However, I don't think that's where he wants his units to be.
No, he is going to be able to force it back. However, +1 attack is going to finish for Malzar pretty soon, and so he will warp in some more stalkers, and attack is going to be a lot stronger because his Zerg opponent does not have any upgrades.
Yeah, the only real issue here is that the Zerg player is just going to start flooding out units because, of course, all those non-missed larva injects are allowing him to get a lot more roaches.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he's already at 132 supply right around the time that +2 is going to be finishing off for this Protoss. And
he picks it.
Yeah.
Picks the Roach Warren.
Yeah, that's not good. However, at this point, Sakura's... he's not, like, okay with that. He's not like, yeah, great, you picked off my Roachborn. However, I think if he doesn't suicide his roaches like this, he would at least be able to withstand an attack. However, it would appear that he doesn't want his roaches to be together in attack. That would be too powerful.
Yeah, that was kind of a blunder on his part. Looks like Malzar wants to blink up again. However, the reason he didn't put all his army together is because if all those roaches were down there, he could have just blunk back up into the top of the base, and yes, I said blunk. So Sakura really, he shouldn't have attacked, but at the same time, he shouldn't have kept his army together. So I think he did make a good choice in that sense. Looks like some good blink micro going on, saving some of those stalkers.
Yeah, however, there's actually a lot of Zerglings here, and Zerglings are surprisingly dangerous to Stalkers, especially Stalkers without any armor upgrades, because Zerglings actually do quite a bit of DPS, and Stalkers are not really well equipped to deal with them. Now, of course, these Zealots are going to slice and dice their way on through these Zerglings. However, I don't know. I mean, Sakura does still have a large army, and of course, he does have his Roach Warren again, so he can produce units. And
Ooh.
I still don't know why he's attacking so much.
I don't know.
With
He
his
got a very
units.
nice surround on the Zealots, killing a lot of them. However, some more Stalkers have reinforced. He could have had it, but now he can't. Stalkers are going to do a lot of damage to the Roaches. He will be pulling back those Roaches to reconvene with the rest of his army. This is very, very scary for Sakura. He's kind of put in an odd position.
Yeah, this is really the point where, as the Protoss player, you just need to warp in 3 sentries, force field the ramp, and kill the third
Yeah,
base.
definitely, definitely. Ooh, looks like an engagement is going on.
Yeah, it looks like the blink back is going to put the Immortal right up at the front. It's going to soak a couple of volleys from these Roaches, but that's not really where you want your Immortal to be. Some great positioning from the Roach army is just going to get absolutely squashed as soon as the Stalkers blink away. And these Roaches are cutting off the tail end of this army. However, it looks like he wants to go for the blink up into the main, and there's the blink again, and the Roach Horn is right
Yeah,
there.
that's exactly what I was talking about. If you run your army around, just blink up and then attack. He's going to have +2 attack, the Protoss player that is, very, very soon. And his opponent is still stuck on 0-0, so this is not going well in Sakura's favor, and he's kind of freaking out at this time going mass Spinecrawler.
Yeah, and I think the really bad part for Sakura right now is that he's no longer ahead on bases. We see Malzar doing the very level-headed thing, the very basic thing, and just going for his expansion, even when he's like, even when he has so much pressure on his opponent, even when, in theory, he could kill him, he's just, he's getting more ahead. And it would appear that these Spinecrawlers will not even be able to finish, really, as these Stalkers are going to be able to pick them off along with the main base Queen, so there might be a missed Larva inject here, sadly. Probably the first one of the game.
Yeah, and this is the great thing by Sakura. He's pulling off a group of his Roaches and keeping them on the low ground to pick off the pylon. And then when the rest of the Roaches get up to the top, they can try to sandwich these Stalkers. However, very unfortunately for him, his Stalkers are 2-0. And they just do a lot of damage.
Make that 3-0.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, +3 just finished, and that is a ridiculous amount of damage. Plus the fact that they're just so survivable with that blink upgrade. The only real thing that can probably cost efficiently kill them is going to be Zerglings, and even then they'll just be able to run away at a certain point. And there's the running away. So all these Stalkers are going to return home. There are, of course, Colossus that could be built right now, and the Zerg player has just taken so much damage over the course of these fights. And there have been, no workers killed, though. That's actually kind of surprising. However, if you look at his Harvesters, he has 44 drones as Zerg.
Low. Another thing.
Versus a 73
Go to the natural.
Protoss.
Do you see a shadow? A suspicious floating shadow?
What is that?
I think it's an asteroid, but there's, no source.
Well, I'm not going to pay attention to it because it looks like Sakura kind of wants to go for some sort of maybe push. Maybe he's just putting his army on the low ground. No, it looks like he's going to be pushing. This is not. I would not suggest this as a plan of action. However, I guess it's really the last thing he can do. He needs to get somewhere into the Protoss's base before those Colossi pop out. However, the first Colossi did just pop out right there, and this is gonna get. I don't think this is gonna go well for Sakura. This looks like a very large army, but in reality, it's just a lot of Zerglings, and Zerglings do not fend well versus a couple of Colossi.
Yeah, he's definitely doing the right decision by pulling back. He cannot engage that army. Building some more Roaches, which is a good decision, but at this point in the game, you're so far behind. You need to have Corruptors to deal with these Colossi, and he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and we see a couple of Stalkers just doing a bit of scouting. I would say they're all going to get picked off, but they really got the information they needed, which was that there is not a lot of production happening at this Zerg player's base. We have 9 Roaches on the way, along with finally a Spire. However, this Spire is just so late, and there's probably going to be 6, I would say 6 Colossus before 1 Corruptor hits the ground of the field. And honestly, 6 Colossus, if you're going to have enough Corruptors to take them out before your entire army dies, then your army is going to be tiny, and the ground force of the Protoss is going to kill it anyway. and that's really a danger. You need to keep those Colossi numbers in check as a Zerg player. And we see the wall from the third base is about to go down for our Protoss player. However, he does have a backup wall of gateways right behind it, so that wouldn't really affect the game at all, to be honest. And all of these Zerglings are running back to base, and these Zerglings are still 0-0, and their Roach buddies are still 0-0 versus, you know, the 1-3 army from the Protoss player about to be 2-3, and, you know, about to be ranged Colossus and about to be charged Zealots. It's not looking bright for our Zerg winner from
Oh
last
yeah,
game.
it's looking very, very bad. He is going to have 2 more Colossi. In fact, 1 more did pop at this time. The next one is going to pop very soon. I would like to see Malzar taking some more bases just to be safe. It's never a bad thing to do, as both players are floating tons of minerals. And some Zerglings going in, getting absolutely fried. Just look at the carnage, getting crushed. And now Malzar knows that all the Zerglings are basically gone, and all that's left are roaches.
Yeah, and we do have 12 mutas about to hit the field, but there are 1-3 stalkers in this army. I'm not sure what he plans on getting those mutas to do, because 1-3 stalkers with blink usually better than 0-0 mutalisks, no matter how big
Yeah,
the
that's
flock
true.
is.
However, very oddly, Sakura does not have that many stalkers. He's kind of switched to mainly Zealot, which I don't blame him for seeing all those Zerglings. But it looks like there is going to be an engagement. The Muta's coming in trying to take out the Colossi. The Roach is doing a very good job at trying to pick off the Stalkers, but the Zealots are so strong. 3-1 Zealots just wiping the floor, and there's the GG by Sakura. Malzar taking a win for Team Tactical. Yeah,
Tactical.
I knew it. Tactical Gaming. So congratulations, 1-1. We will be moving on to game number 3.